Okay, let's start today. We're going to start uh, Myanmar's second video, Burma's first democratic election in the years once of democracy. The story behind Burma's election in 2011, despite a show of democracy, many were challenging the validity of Burma's 2010 election. At this time, it failed, as I told you. In November 2010, Burma held the first democratic election in 20 years. The generals in power wanted us to believe that it represented a historic step toward democracy. Actually, rigging and manipulated, at this election. But this report, which was secretly filmed by exiled media group Democratic Voice of Burma, highlighted how this was not the case. According to Aung San Suu Kyi, who was arrested after winning the last democratic election in 1990, the whole process of the election was so patently unfree and unfair that it makes a laughing stock of democratic process. The military-based Union Solidarity and Development Party (USDF). This is the army, party of army, dominated the campaigning scene with drastically more candidates and money, and any opposition hoping to stand for office was met with a barrage of bureaucratic obstacles, which made candidacy almost impossible. On the top of this, Burmese citizens were threatened, bribed, and coerced into the voting for the USDP. Unsurprisingly, they won with 75% of the vote. It was unconvincing development for democracy. But Aung San Suu Kyi continued to fight on. Her party, the NLD, has been banned from participating in Burmese politics, but she remained confident, and the strength of the NLD is not in any legislation office, but in the will of the people. The will of the people. OK。軍政は1962年からで、1990年の選挙で当選したんだけど、軍部がそれを認めない。これ、あれちょっと待ってくれ。1990年、そうそう、1990年ね。2010年の選挙では軍部が75。この時は、ボイコットしたんですよね、彼女はね。で、不正、リギングしたところについて、後で、軍部の候補者に入れるというような話は、このビデオで出てくる。で、ボイコットしたんですね。この時まで民主主義の動きは全くなかった。そういうことで、このビデオ25分だけど、途中、ビルマ語になるけど、ちゃんと英語の文章が下に書いてあるんで、まあ、これはなんか、公式なビデオじゃ、撮ってなくて隠し撮りしたやつなんですけど、まあ、ちゃんと撮れてるんで、ちょっと見てみましょう。Okay, let's have a look.
In Burma's secretive capital, the country's military rulers gather for the opening of a new parliament, formed after the first elections in 20 years. The generals want the world to think this is the first step towards democracy. But throughout the election, the exiled media group, the Democratic Voice of Burma, was filming what was really happening.
The whole process of the elections was so patently unfree and unfair that it makes a laughing stock of democratic practice.
This is the secret story behind Burma's election. Burma has been ruled by a dictatorial junta since a military coup in 1962. For half a century, the military government have crushed any dissent in an attempt to maintain control. In November last year, the junta held an election saying they wanted to move towards democracy and relinquish power at last. But before the country had even got to the polls, secret cameras were finding a different story. During campaigning, one party stood out, the military-backed Union Solidarity and Development Party, or USDP. In the weeks running up to the poll, the USDP was everywhere. Its banners and signs dominated. They had vastly more money and more candidates than any other party. Burma is a country where many areas are lacking basic facilities. With substantially more funding and government support, the USDP was able to offer rewards for people's votes.
By the way, I don't understand why military try to change from their strategy from authoritarian toward democracy. I don't know, but they started 2010, and at that time they spent a lot of money on bribe and rigging to win the election. But I don't know how come they turn out to from authoritarian to democracy.
In the Parle district of Rangoon, voters said USDP candidates weren't satisfied with the usual campaign techniques. In contrast, candidates for other parties find themselves heavily restricted on the campaign trail. Candidates had to apply a week in advance if they wanted to meet more than 3 supporters at once, and anything they said had to be pre-approved.
As a politician, I want to respond directly to the voters on their questions. I definitely don't want to read out the paper. So how can I put a week ahead for what I'm going to say and tell the voters?
Yusa Mortun is one of few independent candidates who contested the elections. With a registration fee of $500 for each candidate to run, many were unable to afford it. Throughout the campaign, she said she was monitored by military intelligence. Despite the high cost of registration, the USDP managed to field a candidate for every single seat. Links between the USDP and government authorities also raised alarm bells. Rangoon City's mayor and USDP candidate Ong Beng Lim was one of several candidates accused of allegedly using state funds for their campaigns.
Fairness just does not mean being allowed to put your votes into a box freely on election day. Fairness means that the whole process of campaigning has to be fair as well. The rules and regulations have to be fair as well. And if the rules and regulations had been fair and the whole process had been fair, I think the results would have been extremely different.
Aung San Suu Kyi won the last election held in Burma in 1990, but unwilling to give up control, the junta refused to recognise the result. Just before that election, the military put her under house arrest, where she spent 15 of the last 21 years. Her party, the National League for Democracy, or the NLD, won the election by a landslide.
This is unbelievable. 1990, last time she won, but after that, 10 years later, she tried to start NLD activity, or still keep continuing, but supported, majority of the people of Burma supported is support for her NLD.
The USDP is Burma's biggest political group. This time it was them who won the elections by a landslide. The USDP won 873 seats, or 75% of the vote. It's a front for the military. It boasts several former generals, many of whom now fill top parliamentary positions. Their party dominates the parliament. Just before the election, government officials started gathering votes from those who would not be able to make the ballot stations. It was called advanced voting. In many places, the USDP used these advance votes to ensure victory. Some voters were willing to speak about the coercion on camera, but for their own safety, none of these people will be identified by name. Hers was not an isolated case. Reporters also found examples of dubious procedures in counting these early votes. The less official nature of advanced voting meant the counting could not be monitored properly. Advance voting was widely condemned as a major way the election was unfairly tilted in favour of the USDP. It was organised by election commission officials.
With the advanced voting, it just seemed to be so incredible that there were so many advanced votes, and the way in which they came pouring in only, in some cases, only after the results had been declared. So there was something very, very undemocratic, I suppose, is the word one would have to use.
Democracy did not feature strongly in this election. The current constitution seems designed to keep the military in power behind a civilian facade, reserving a quarter of the parliamentary seats for the military. Responsible for drafting this constitution was the head of the USDP and Burma's new president, Thein Sein.
At that time, the military released lots of political prisoners at that time. So, and also that, just as she explained, they have lots of manipulated and leaking voting count. So I don't know why they try to start doing this, right?
ဒီလွတ်တော်ကကျွန်တော်ကနိုင်ငံတော်သမ္မတအဖြစ်ရွေးချယ်တင်မြှောက်ခံရပြီးမှပြည်ထောင်စုလွတ်တော်နဲ့ပြည်ထောင်စုအစိုးရအဖွဲ့ကိုတာဝန်ခံရမယ်ကျွန်တော်အနေနဲ့ပြည်ထောင်စုအစိုးရတည်းရဲ့မူဝါဒသဘောထားလမ်းစဉ်များကိုပြောကြားဖို့တာဝန်ရှိတာပါ
Thein Sein is a former senior ranking general and was Prime Minister of the military government. Shortly before the elections, he retired from the military and formed the junta-backed USDP. Known as Mr. Clean for keeping out of trouble, and with a reputation for absolute loyalty to former Army Chief Dan Shui, some have suggested he was chosen for the role in order to ensure the former dictator keeps pulling the strings. Burma's junta said they held a free and fair poll, but on election day, the camera teams found many were disappointed. The denial of voting rights was widespread and systematic, as the teams found in the town of Dalar. On election day, loudspeakers urged voters to the polls. For many of those who were able to vote, there was control and intimidation. No independent observers were allowed to monitor what was happening at the polling stations.
Well, it means I think many candidates for election, but in front of this video, they said for to get certificate to be candidate, they need to pay $500. So much money for this country. But I don't know how many people is candidate, but sort of opposition party existed.
The government issued election rules, but officials made sure voters voted in the right way. This widespread intimidation meant many voters were not free to make their choice.
We thought that whatever rules and
I see again. I can't believe why. How come they try to intimidate voters, right?
regulations the authorities had brought out, at least they should abide by those rules and regulations. And if they did not do so, this was tantamount to a lack of rule and law that could even be interpreted as anarchy.
Aung San Suu Kyi's NLD party refused to participate in this election, saying it was never going to be fair. In March 2010, the NLD announced their decision.
နိုင်ငံတော်အေဂျင့်တာတွေနဲ့ပုံမျိုးရေးကောင်စီကထုတ်ပြန်သည့်ရွေးကောက်ပွဲဆိုင်ရာဥပဒေများသည်တရားမျှတမှုမရှိသဖြင့်အမျိုးသားဒီမိုကရေစီအဖွဲ့ချုပ်သည်နိုင်ငံရေးပါတီအဖြစ်ထပ်မံမှတ်ပုံတင်ပြီးမဟုတ်ကြောင်းအများသဘောတူကန့်ကွက်မှုမရှိဆုံးဖြတ်၏。
Despite the NLD's stance, several pro-democracy supporters did decide to run. But on the day of the results, many found themselves disappointed and angry. Despite security, DVB cameramen were able to meet up with User Morton again and hear her reaction to the election. Many other candidates found similar problems. Like User Morton, Democratic Party candidate Cho Chornyang lost the vote. But she has now lodged a complaint about what she called unfair state control. Although she is being closely watched, soon after the elections, she agreed to speak to one of our covert cameramen. She says the local USDP candidate appointed his close relatives as polling station staff, who pressured people to vote for him.
Oh, she's a candidate, right?
Despite numerous similar complaints, Cho is the only candidate from outside the USDP who has actually lodged an official complaint. She gave us the official documents to explain why so few are willing to take that step. Some members of Chocho's party did win seats, but according to the party leader Unno, their USDP rivals are
Well, some people got win,
still pursuing them.
not USDP.
တို့ကအနိုင်ရအောင်လည်းပဲသူတို့ကြီးတို့ကလည်းရအောင်လုပ်တယ်အဲ့တော့အဲ့လိုလုပ်ပါလိမ့်ခဲ့တယ်အနိုင်မရတဲ့လူတွေကလည်းထပ်ပြီးတော့အနိုင်လို့နေတာပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဒီအနိုင်လူတွေနဲ့အတွက်ကြောင့်သူတို့ကဒါတရားဆွဲတာပေါ့နော်တရားဆွဲတယ်ဆိုတာကတော့သူတို့ဥပဒေတွေကပါတယ်လဲဆိုတော့အဓိကအပြင်ဒီဘာပဲလို့သူတို့ကဒီငွေကြီးတွေအများကြီးသုံးပါတယ်နော်ဒီတရားဆွဲတဲ့နေရာမှာလည်းပဲအများကြီးကိုသုံးတာတွေရှိတော့အဲ့ဒီငွေအားနဲ့ဖိပြီးတော့အနိုင်ယူရမလားဆိုတော့ဒီကျင့်တယ်နိုင်တဲ့လူတွေနဲ့ဒီလိုငွေအားတွေနဲ့ဖိပြီးတော့နိုင်လုပ်နေတယ်လည်းနိုင်လိမ့်မယ်လို့ယူဆပြီးတော့သူကဆွဲတာပေါ့ဒီကြောင့်လည်းမရှိသေးတော့မူလကစစ်နေတိုင်းနဲ့လို့ရှိနေတယ်တို့တော်လည်းပဲဒါဒီမိုကရေစီဘက်ကိုခြေလှမ်းတစ်လှမ်းမရှိပါဘူးအဲ့တော့အဲ့ခြေလှမ်းတစ်လှမ်းကိုကျွန်တော်လည်းဘုံပါတာပေါ့ဒါကဒီတော့ပဲပတ်သက်တယ်နော်
We don't think it's necessarily a step forward towards democracy. I've said time and again that a blatant dictatorship is better than a parody of democracy, because if there's a parody of democracy, it makes people complacent. It makes them think, or at least it gives them an excuse to say that there is no longer any necessity to work for democracy in Burma.
The NLD launched...
Yeah, she said true. How come they're going to develop a democratic, country?
The no vote campaign to try and get people not to vote. The actual turnout is disputed. The NLD claims its campaign was successful.
We as the NLD have enough evidence to think that our campaign was a success and that less than 50% of the voters went to the polls.
But thousands did turn out for the woman who many consider the rightful ruler of Burma. Just 1 week after the election, the military released Aung San Suu Kyi from several years of house arrest. Despite her uncompromising rhetoric and undoubted popularity, the NLD is facing challenges. It has been banned as a party, and some question what Aung San Suu Kyi can do now a military-dominated parliament rules.
For more than 2 decades, the NLD has been surviving because of the support of the people. Even when we were supposed to have been an officially registered political party, we were deprived of our rights as a political party. So the survival of the NLD, the strength of the NLD, is not in any registration office, but in the will of the people.
But the will of the people has never been a match for the military might and control in Burma. And as well as making sure they are entrenched in the government, the military have found other ways to consolidate control. Shortly after the election, news broke that Burma are introducing mandatory military service. As well as increasing the size of Burma's army, a clause of the draft allows retired military men to assume their previous post in the case of a national emergency. So while Burma's former dictator appears to have stepped down from any position of authority, this draft will allow him to retain a hold on the country. The draft may also help the army to control many of Burma's volatile border regions where they do not yet have power. On the day of the elections, ethnic Karen troops took control of the border town of Miyawadi. The Burmese army retaliated, and a battle broke out along the border. Since then, this Karen group has formed an alliance with other rebel armies, strengthening their resistance against the Burmese army, and the fighting in eastern Burma continues. But the biggest battle will come over what happens next. The world is waiting to see whether this so-called civilian government will make the changes that Burma needs.
အဲ့ဒီလိုတောင်းဝင်ရှိတာကြတဲ့အတွက်ကျွန်တော်နဲ့တကွာကိုယ်စားလှယ်များအားလုံးတို့ပါပြည်သူ့အခြေခံဥပဒေနဲ့ဒီဖွဲ့စည်းပုံအခြေခံဥပဒေကပြည့်စုံကြရမယ်ဒီမိုကရေစီနိုင်ငံတော်ကြီးကိုနှစ်ကာကယုံကြည်ချစ်ခင်ညှိနှိုးကြဖို့
The new president and his wife's names still appear on EU sanctions lists, along with other key members of the former junta and its cronies. The military's main aim now.
Oh, okay. They said Burma, they had sanction because of authoritarian. Like they said, right? EU sanction. So they try to remove their sanction for developing their economy.
Members of the former junta and its cronies. The military's main aim now is to end sanctions. Southeast Asia and a growing number.
So maybe they try to end sanctions. So, but democracy is actually they are not developed through democracy, just fake. And this is at that time they considered, I think.
Nations in Europe agree. But with little to show for genuine change, Aung San Suu Kyi says the time is not right.
I do not think it would help if the international community were to deceive itself into thinking that there has been genuine progress. With regard to sanctions, the NLD brought out a paper to explain why we think that this is not yet the time for sanctions to be modified or to be removed, and that there should be a review of the whole situation. And what we would really want the international community to do is to insist on an all-inclusive political process in Burma.
But the country's state-controlled media has warned that unless Suu Kyi and her party end their call for sanctions, they will meet their tragic ends. And in Burma, that is no idle threat.
Okay, maybe this video is finished, right? Okay, it's finished. So last minute I recognize they are junta, military people. They try to remove global sanction. So they did to switching from authoritarian to democracy, and the military they try to consider this kind of election is try to kind of fake democracy, and at that time they saw that. Okay. So now moving to the second one, 21st century episode 110, Democracy in Myanmar, Fighting Torture and Pianist for Peace. Okay, New York, September 21st, 2016, the Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi delivers an address at Asia Society in New York on her country's political, economic development. Following her remarks, she engaged in a wide-ranging discussion with Kevin Rudd, the president of Asia Society Policy Institute and the former Prime Minister of Australia. 50 minutes, 2 minutes or so, my God, that's so long. And just Aung San Suu Kyi の現政府における考え。独立は1948年、69年に民主主義を失った。2010年の時に 80% の議員が軍の関係者で政治を占めた。で、その時に彼女の選挙活動が始まった。で、NLD を設立されて30年、2012年に補欠選挙があって、彼女が、立候補して 当選した。で、軍が 25% の選挙なしで議席を占めているので、憲法の改正はできない。で、彼女が言ってるのは我々が求めているのは食料とか医療ではなくて、民主主義のための責任と権利をしっかり持つことだ。経済の前に我々は平和を確保しなければならない。平和がなければ何も始まらない。最大の課題は現在の失業率とどう解消するかだ。若者の多くが海外で稼ぎ出ているが、国内産業を起こすことによって今の失業率を改善したい。国が貧しいので中国のようにいかない。それでもアジアやアメリカからの投資によって投資を活性させたいという、そういうのがこのビデオの彼女のメッセージですね。ではそれ見てみましょう。ちょっと待ってください。
Coming up on 21st Century, Myanmar's youth determined to build democracy. Juan Mendes, a campaign to end torture. And from Geneva, pianists for peace.
If there is no educated person, don't hope for the democracy.
Myanmar, formerly known as Burma, is emerging from decades of military dictatorship. But can it achieve real democracy?
My hope for my country is that to have access to better education system, which can lead to the better way of...
No, this is 25 minutes.
Myanmar's youth are determined to make that transition by promoting free debate.
Why just I written down? 52 minutes.
No matter you are a man, no matter you are a woman, all of us are connected to politics, and you all need to be interested in politics. My name is Unno, and I'm in my 20s. I'm from Kachin State, which is happening the civil wars between the KIA, ethnicity group, and government. That civil wars was started when I was the grade 7 student. Thousands of people, they have to move their home, and also some of the houses, they were burned. One of my brother was shot in that battle. So, and then only me, I moved to Mandalay, and I continued my secondary education.
Originally known as Burma, Myanmar in Southeast Asia is emerging from decades of military rule. Its people are looking for greater freedom under a new democratic system. During the military dictatorship, open discussion was discouraged under a tightly controlled political regime. This impacted heavily on the country's education system and academic institutions. This is a story about three young people, Ang, Kinchit, and Miat, who became friends at Phang Dao U Monastic School. The school, which is managed by monks, uses a teaching methodology based on critical thinking and free expression. This is what drew Ang's mother, who placed him here when his own school in Kachin State was shut down in the midst of civil strife. Government-run schools don't allow this approach and still largely rely on rote learning.
I hate that system. I learn all the subjects by memorizing lessons.
24-year-old Kim Chip-Win works as a librarian and as a debate activist at the school, which is located in Mandalay, Myanmar's second largest city.
This is not the way that we have to learn the education. This is absolutely wrong way.
Now, life is
I think
different for the trio.
Title, the content is not a little bit different, but so.
Along with the Burmese people, they've witnessed significant change since the 2010 elections. Thousands of political prisoners were released, including Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. She'd been confined to 20 years house arrest because of her efforts to bring full democracy to the country. Her vision is shared by Kinship.
my hope for my country is that to have a good education system, to have access to better education system, which can lead to the better way of democracy.
These young people believe that the path to a full democracy is through a system of free debate and critical thinking. They want people to acquire public speaking skills and to be able to stand up for their rights without fear of repression. Kinship's experience as a debate activist motivated her to create an opportunity for young people to strengthen their communication skills. She introduced a project called Debate Education for Democracy into the school's curriculum. She and her friend Miat have been inspired by international examples. They took part in a debate tournament held in neighbouring Thailand.
My team got the second prize. Personally, what I learned from Thailand as a Myanmar people, so we had been closed by the government. So we don't have a lot of knowledge with the politics or other things in Thailand. So they are very open, and also the education system is much better than in here. And also the government also have to provide good education or good governance system. So if we can combine that one, that is really very good for the country.
Now, both Miet and An have a chance to serve as judges at the first public debate forum organised by Kinship, which was held in Mandalay in August 2015. The project and the forum, which aim to strengthen debating skills in Myanmar, have been made possible through funding from UNDEF, United Nations Democracy Fund.
And we stand for education is the best way to be happy in life. Our idea cannot be the same, so that for my education, it is also not the best way, then we can find happiness everywhere. Of course, we can get short happiness by different ways. We need education to get working from. Our opponent team, they have told that they just mentioned their arguments, and then they do not tell much about happiness. Nowadays, they are you must get question. One, they want to get formal education, higher education, about country, right? What for it? Get working job, get happiness in their life. Not all of the people in the world can access formal education. Can we say that these people cannot have the happiness in their life? No. Everybody, make up one for the debater.
Over 100 young people from 4 regions in Upper Myanmar competed for the top prize. Mia draws on her past experience of judging tournaments.
So what I'm doing here is judging the opponent team. So they have like 3 arguments and they have like clear information they can convince to me.
My name is Unno. I'm from Kachin State. We think that we did great well. It is our situation now, and I think that actually both sides are really excellent. So now we are waiting the results of the judges.
My name is Soban. I came from Mo State. Yeah, I like to side to make the debate. I think it's my 2 side, just a little weak.
After several rounds, the team from Kachin State wins the contest as the best and most effective youth debaters in Myanmar.
I think
This is a vital skill which will help them.
Takahashi, the same one. Did you see it before?
Yeah, I think it's what we did on Saturday.
Yes, I think contents were going to be different. Maybe I just show you before, right?
Yes.
Is this
I think maybe Saturday, last Saturday.
This one? Maybe.
Yeah, this video.
This one, is it?
Yeah, this video could for Maybe.
Oh, maybe I think this one is. Let me try to check. Maybe originally it's somewhere. I just mistaken. Try to. If I try to. May I try to find.
Or it should have been another one.
This is is this one, right? And this one is it's 25 minutes. This one 9 minutes, and I think. Okay, let's continue. They're going to finish, but it's overlapping something.
Face challenges in life, allowing them to think of the negative and positive sides of any argument and to choose wisely for themselves. In November 2015, most of these young debaters used their newly acquired knowledge to cast their ballots in Myanmar's first national election since President Thein Sein's government took over in 2011. After tallying votes, Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy party won a landslide victory, but under the new constitution passed in 2008, she's barred from taking up the presidency.
If we cannot change constitution, that will not be, we cannot see changing very much. But if we are changing constitution, so if the sectarian...
For Myanmar's young debaters, there's now a chance to use their skills to build a true democracy.
Who is the UN secretary from our country? So he said that, so if you are going to get the democracy, every person, single person, have to educate it. If there is no educated person, don't hope for the democracy.
I will try my best to continue my work and to change the education system and to create opportunities for youth.
So I believe that in democracy, everyone, no matter you are a man, no matter you are a woman, all of us are connected to politics, and you all need to be interested in politics, and politics is life, as well as life is politics.
Aung says his mother is very proud of his accomplishments and has never regretted the sacrifice she made by moving to Mandalay. His goal is to share his knowledge and experience with the next generation who will help build a better Myanmar.
Okay, from here they're going to new one. Oh my God! So this video is overlapped.
Ponían una mesa atado de pies y manos pero estirado, siempre con los ojos vendados, y me aplicaban la picana eléctrica.
Argentina in the 1970s, under the military dictatorship, torture was widespread.
Era que detenían a las personas pero no lo llevaban nunca a ninguna
Argentina.
A campos de concentración. Y luego de torturarlas salvajemente, las mataban.
A courageous lawyer escaped with his life. Today he campaigns to end torture worldwide.
This is different, right?
Uno de los aspectos más difíciles de mi trabajo, tengo la sensación de que se ha perdido la sensación de condena universal a la tortura.
Really?
La cultura
Maybe there might be the one of also such after this session, because this video.
Yes, go ahead.
Maybe different one after this.
Maybe they're going to switch the contents of video. But this is actually, they are talking about democracy in Myanmar, fighting torture, and pianist for peace. Maybe this later part is Argentine, is it? Oh my goodness, they're just talking about. No, they are talking about, oh, Argentina. I need to change this video anyway. Okay. I didn't see this before. But I explained a lot of explanation, right? So it means also he is talking about some Australian Kevin Rose. And this said New York, September 12th.
Yeah, it should have been different one.
Yeah, I think this is Kevin Rudd, right? So, and also Aung San Suu Kyi address in New York, right? Unbelievable. It's like they switched the contents of this video before. Oh, 52 minutes. This one.
It's a great pleasure to see all of you and to be here at the Asian Society. Since coming to the United States, I've been congratulated by many people, many, many times, and always I say to them, it's not yet the time for congratulations.
Oh, this one.
We have just got to the beginning of the road. There's a long way to go before we can claim
oh my goodness.
that we have the right to be congratulated. The long road that we're going to start on is the democratization of our country. This is beginning only now. Many people think that this started in 2010 when the so-called civilian government came into power. But I do not know whether many of you are aware of the fact that 80% of the members of the government then were retired members of the military. And so it was really still military rule in effect. And of course, there's a constitution that provides the military with
I'm going to replace
in the political process.
I'm going to replace.
I won't go into the details of it now. If you're really interested in Burma, you can read the constitution. And that will show how interested you really are. But this is one of the challenges. And we contested our by-election.
Okay, Takashi, this is a new, the correct one.
On 3 issues. We promised.
Okay, they said the 52 minutes. Oh my God, this is different I thought, but actually I mistaken the copy of this title content, but this one is.
The way we should go about trying to rehabilitate our country. So we said that we would try. What we would try to do would be.
Okay, let me try to explain that. This one is actually, she made a speech 2016 at New York, and maybe just Kevin Rudd is discussed with Kevin Rudd. So this is a little bit long, and sorry, I just original material is long. Video is I don't know how come I just copy a wrong one on this page, but this is true one. Okay, let's going to continue. Maybe I because I just explained detail about she said, right, like this. So I viewed before, but okay, let's have a look.
To bring internal peace and also to
it's a little bit long, 50 minutes.
Establish rule of law.
Yeah.
Okay.
These 3 are connected and very necessary. We need peace in our country. We have had armed conflict in our country from the very day it became independent on the 4th of January 1948. A group of one of our ethnic groups, the Karen, rose up in rebellion on the very day we achieved independence. And since then, there have been many, many more rebellions. When I was a child, the expression multicolored insurgents was well known to all of us, because there were the red communists, there were the white communists, there were the, and it was also varied. And we took it for granted that this was how it was. Of course, this is not how it is in other countries, not in all countries. There are countries almost as bad as ours, which have not yet known peace, which have known nothing but conflict and internal dissension. We are now at a time, at a juncture of our history where we have the opportunity to put an end to internal conflict. This is why we have given great importance to the peace process that started some time back, and I am very happy to give the credit to the previous administration.
Okay, this is she's explaining Burma's history at the eye of her experience. Okay, so
started the peace process. They started negotiating with various ethnic groups with regard to a national ceasefire arrangement. Now, this has not been completed. There were 16 groups which had been involved in the negotiations with regard to the ceasefire agreement, but only 14 signed the agreement. Only 8 signed the agreement, so there were 8 left. Now there are 3 other little groups which have emerged since then, and these are linked to the 8 who have not yet signed the NCA. And unless we can get all of them to sign, it will be difficult for us to claim that we have been able to achieve peace throughout our land. So the national, our Union Peace Conference started on the 31st of August this year, that is to say just about not quite a month ago. When we declared that we would be holding the opening ceremony of our peace conference on the 31st of August, there were those who said it was too early. I disagreed with that. I think it was in fact too late. We should have had a peace process, a peace conference many, many decades back. Then our country would have suffered so much less. Without unity, it is difficult for a country to maintain its position of success in the field. At one time, some of you may know, we were considered the nation most likely to succeed in Southeast Asia, but we were not able to maintain this position of success for political reasons, not for economic reasons. This is something of which I have to remind many people, because the perception nowadays is that strengthen the economy and everything will go well. It's the economy that matters. If your people are rich, if they're materially well off, you will not have any problems in any areas. Now, if this were true, you would have no problems in the United States at all. And so you will understand that there are other issues than economic ones. And for us, that is peace. We lost our democratic governance in 1969, not because of economic problems, but for political reasons. Now, I will not go into the details of that now. It's a whole subject in itself and very interesting, but it will divert me from what I've been asked to talk about, which is now. People ask me to make speeches, and they usually tell me what they want me to talk about.
Okay, she's going to talk about what Myanmar needs, not food, and she's going to tell us democracy.
As a good guest, I feel that I'm bound to oblige them in some way or the other, although I do manage to weave in what I want to say as well. So now we have been elected to government. We who were the opposition for nearly 30 years. The National League for Democracy was founded in 1988, and since...
Okay, by the way, this video is 2016 September, and her speech is 2016, September 21st. This is actually developed a second election. At that time, she already won.
She already
Won.
She won.
Yeah.
So election for what? Election for what?
For Myanmar. General election. She won. After that, she made a speech right here. Okay?
In New York.
So she's going to speak in New York. What kind of requirement for American government?
What kind of requirement
yeah.
was asking?
Yeah.
Since then, we were in opposition until
last week I did for the Bhutto of Pakistan. And also she made a wonderful speech, right?
Yes.
This is the same.
When we won the general election, when we won with an overwhelming majority. But,
right, she said general election, an overwhelming majority she got, right?
Majority, that still does not give us the right to amend the Constitution. That's part of the old Constitution.
Of course, amend the Constitution because she cannot be the president because of the Constitution, as you know, right? And Junta changed the Constitution. She will not going to get a position of this country, right? Head of position.
Constitution, which gives the military really the right of veto with regard to any meaningful constitutional amendment. 25% of the members of all the legislatures in our country, meaning to say the union legislature as well as the regional and state legislatures, are from the military. They are nominated by the Commander-in-Chief. And to amend the vital parts of the Constitution, which would make it truly democratic, we need to have more than 75% of the agreement of the members of our legislatures. Now that means that even if all the elected representatives...
Okay, she's talking about military, they can appoint 25% of parliamentary seat without election. So it means she cannot change constitution.
Well, because how many? Because to change constitution,
military own the right to appoint 25% of the parliamentary member.
So okay. So 25% of parliamentary member, right? So how about the rest of 75%?
Yeah, constitution need to 75% vote to change constitution.
Okay, so constitution requires 70%.
Right. So that she said. That's the reason why they cannot.
All agreed on an important amendment. At least one brave soldier would have to stand with them and say, I agree.
One brave soldier, she said, right?
And I'm sure our soldiers are very brave on the battlefield. But when it comes to the legislature, they vote as they're ordered to vote. I think General David Petraeus is somewhere in the audience. And I suppose he would say that it is a duty of soldiers to obey the commanders. And I agree with that. I often said that if they were not so, what would happen if the commander says, now get into your battle stations or whatever you call them, and we're all going to go into battle at 8:30 this morning. And it wouldn't do if soldiers were to say, now wait a minute, I haven't yet seen my mother. And I've got to get home and ask her whether she thinks it's a good idea. It doesn't, armies cannot work like that. So I'm perfectly in agreement that the commander should be agreed. But our military commanders should have no role to play in the civilian governance of a democratic country. And what we want is a truly democratic country. I value our military for many reasons, not the least important of which is that it was founded by my father. It was founded by my father to fight for the independence of the nation and to protect the freedom of the people. And that is what I would like our army to do. That should be its main...
By the way, behind this kind of family history, that's the reason she cannot against military. And Rohingya is why they are killed and persecuted because she cannot against military.
So this is something I haven't understood. So her father is a founder of military.
Yes, yes.
Founder of military.
Yeah, military and this country. And father was killed.
By who? By military?
No, opposition.
Opposition.
Party of some, yeah. My father was former founder of this country. Okay, so she just two reasons for she cannot against Rohingya's prosecution. One is she cannot against military. Second is the constitution is not her territory to cover the minority ethnic people. Military owns the right to how to handle those people. Okay.
Responsibility.
Wait, one more, stop. You said ethnic minority, right?
Yeah, Rohingya is ethnic minority. Is controlled by military.
Yes. Well,
she doesn't have authorized to say any opinion for Rohingya. So, okay, military and under constitution, they have three responsibilities they authorize three areas. One is how to handle minority people. And second is, of course, military itself. Third is something, I can't forget that. Okay. Something. Third is, I forget, military.
But when you say the definition of minority is not by the number of population. Definition of minority is...
Oh, minority is, you don't need any definition. Majority is these countries who are there and originally,
who governed
Burma people. And minority means those people came from outside this country. Every person is minority. So those, not pure Burma people is ethnic minority. They have a lot of ethnic people there. But Rohingya is 1 million, is a big majority group. So military control those people, not her. She can say anything at all for those people. Okay.
Thank you.
We have to amend the constitution. That is one of the reasons. The reasons why we contested the by-elections in 2012. We want it made clear to our people that there was a need to amend the constitution, and we wanted rule of law because we think that rule of law is necessary if we truly wanted a democratic society. When I was in the legislature a few months ago, I met a group of law students and I asked them, what are laws for? And they looked at each other and thought for a bit, and one of them said, to punish wrongdoers. And the others all agreed. And I was rather taken aback. I said, no, from my point of view, laws are there to make sure that we all live together in harmony and in security. That is what laws are meant to do, not just to punish wrongdoers. But this is one of the reasons.
Okay, I'm doing Africa. Africa is, today I did Zambia. Same thing they are talking about that, okay? And yeah. They try to do, punish wrongdoers. No, your government should be in harmony, This is, they said. It means audience said, ordinary people said, instead of government. Government tried to beat the opposition party, right? So this is the same thing they said.
That's why we put
the country the same
at the top of our priority when we contested the elections, the by-elections of 2012. Our people needed to understand what laws were for and what laws can do for us who are individuals seeking to be part of a society that will respect our rights and also encourage us to bear our own responsibilities. And of course, we talked about the need for permanent peace, for an end to internal conflict. Because unless a country is at peace, we will not be able to progress in the long run. In the short run, we may be able to achieve small economic miracles, but we will not be able to maintain those if there is no peace in the country. So we want peace, we want development. These two are linked one to the other. But peace is something that our
Just a moment, I want to show you a different one. Oh, gone. Oh, this one? This one. Just have a look. 1 minute.
First time in Rakhine State.
When was this?
This is she visited Rohingya last week.
Last week. Oh, very, very neat.
Yeah. Last week or this week? Last week, November 2nd. Just have a look. 1 minute 30 seconds.
Accompanied by government officials and prominent business leaders, she visited several villages and spoke to people there, including both Muslims and Buddhists. All of us want to live in peace, she reportedly said, adding that everyone will have to try hard to achieve that. Analysts say there's a wider message the Myanmar leader is trying to
those people are Muslim. Have a look. Muslim.
I think it's all designed to give the appearance of some kind of stability and normalcy that simply doesn't exist there. And again, I think this is her desultory attempt at spin to convince the world that everything's okay and that she's in charge of the situation.
These are the scenes that would have greeted the Myanmar leader and her entourage. House after house destroyed by fire. Entire villages, once home to Rohingya families, deserted. The government has refuted allegations that its troops are committing ethnic cleansing. It's defended the military operation as a legitimate counter-offensive against a group of fighters it calls a terrorist organization.
The spokesman for the Rakhine State government told Al Jazeera that Aung San Suu Kyi's visit to Mongdor will show that the region is now stable. But Rohingya villagers we've spoken to say they don't believe her visit will change things on the ground for them. More than 600,000 people have crossed into Bangladesh since August, and the exodus hasn't stopped. Florence Louis, Al Jazeera, Yang.
So, people don't believe her. Right?
People, I mean Rohingya, doesn't believe her.
Don't believe her, okay? Well, it's Africa.
So, one more question. So local Myanmar Buddhists discriminated Rohingya? Or that fire was done by military, or was that
military,
right? Okay.
Military. What? Where is Africa?
One more question. Then what are the position of local Buddhists against Rohingya? Such as, are there anything like KKK kind of level of anti-racial?
No. Myanmar, whole country is Buddhist. Whole country Buddhist. Just only 1 million is Islam.
Okay.
Islamist. So Rohingya. Okay. So they try to attack whole country people, attack 1 million people. Whole country people hate Rohingya.
So not only military, but the whole country.
Whole country with military hate Rohingya. So she is one of the Buddhists. So she can't against Rohingya, she can't against Buddhist people because she will lose her position. Okay, so she need to support ordinary people. Yeah, ordinary people, everybody Buddhist. So this is simple.
That's why the interview, the report guy said, she tried to make it sounds like it's okay, but it is not.
Not tell the truth. She just but okay. This is, I think, she is okay, representative of the nation and people. So that's the reason she support people against Rohingya. But tell the truth, she's wrong. She actually lose her credibility because she just her opinion is a different opinion compared with in the past, right? She just need to support Rohingya even if whole people of Myanmar people against her, she need to support Rohingya. But she just follow on countrywide Buddhist people opinion. So she is wrong.
So it's like Korea.
Oh yeah. It's like Korea. That's right. So you mean the Korea to China, right?
Well, no. So like
What do you mean Korea?
The Korean citizen to Korean judicial system.
What do you mean?
In Korea, the judicial system doesn't follow constitution. In Korea, when the public says this is not right, then judicial system is okay. This is not right.
What do you mean judicial system?
Court.
Huh?
Court. Judge.
Court? Oh, you mean the court? Well, what I don't understand. What kind of case are you talking about?
For example, would be the Buddhist statue.
Oh, okay.
It was stolen, for example.
Okay.
Right. And all the companies, Japanese company.
Oh, this is different. Korean people very narrow-minded.
No. So what I'm saying is.
What I mean is the court is judge is wrong, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm
always judge wrong because they just
because judge follow what people says. Judge is not following constitution. Judge is following what people says. When the citizen says black is white,
exactly,
then judge says no, then that's white.
Exactly.
So same, Suji is supposed to follow her position, but if the Buddhism culture says no Rohingya, then she's like, okay, harmony, but actually no Rohingya. Same, right? She doesn't have her own mind. She's not following her own position. She's not following what she's supposed to be doing.
Like Moon Jae-in, the current Prime Minister of Korea. Okay, his judgment for woman, and his judgment for the labor of past former World War II, and he criticized Japan. But still he understands what the true story, but he telling a lie, and this is very similar to her. Okay, she does understand. Okay, she never killed Rohingya people. She understands, but she cannot tell the true story. What she's thinking, she needs to support their people, right?
She needs people's support. Right?
No. She needs to support people.
She needs to support
Buddhists instead of Rohingya. So she is wrong. Okay.
So why does she need to support Buddhists instead of Rohingya?
Because she is belonging to Buddhist.
So
she cannot against ordinary people opinion.
Maybe we're talking about the same thing, but but I see that people. She needs people's support. She can't.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
Same thing, right? Okay.
She needs people's support. Okay. So it means she support people to kill Rohingya. Okay.
Okay.
But this is she is wrong.
Right.
She cannot change her benevolence or policy. She believe, right? She just but he betrayed her mind. Right? So that's the reason why she lost the global credibility. Right? This is, but she's just I show you video, and Islamist people they don't believe her, but she's talking. But that she's talking. Just listen here. Okay.
Thank you.
People have been lost.
Yeah, she is telling her. It's a different message in her mind. Okay. She understands what is the truth because she is not a child, right? She understands
what is going on.
Yeah.
Looking for a long time, and also they want lives that are secure.
If she knows, so basically she's helpless.
Huh?
Right? She's helpless. helpless.
What do you mean helpless?
She can't, she needs people's support, and with her position, she can't say that she
No,
wants
no,
to
no,
do.
no, 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 no. She should tell the truth. What she thinks. This is very important issue. Not helpless, okay? If she's worrying about, okay, she don't want to lose people members, people, support. No. She just need to persuade her people what is the right thing, right? She just betray, her mind. But she need to tell the truth. What is the right thing to do? But she never tell the truth. What is the right thing to do? Okay, country Buddhist people, you should not kill the Rohingya. Okay, you need to in harmony get together in harmony.
Yes.
Even if you just different religion, but you should not do that. But she never tell that. She should say you should not do that. Okay, we need to cooperate with those people in harmony. Is her answer. She understands, but she don't want to lose the support from ordinary people. But this is wrong, completely wrong, right? This is my opinion, right? Helpless is not helpless. Okay, you don't need any help. You just speak out her strong opinion.
No, helpless means so she can't. She knows she can't change people.
No. What I'm talking about, she never speak like that. Change the people's mind. This is important. But many politicians, they very much worry about ordinary people were going to hate her. This is the same thing in Zambia. This morning I studied Zambia politician, prime minister or president, very much worrying about the opposition party. So she tried to control the freedom of speech. She tried to jail the opposition people. Doing that, no, do that. You need to cooperate with those people in harmony. This is just a commentator said. This is true answer. But many people, every developed countries people, top people, they worry about how to protect their position. This is wrong, but this is very good message, okay? And she is bad example. She never do that. Even if she lose her confidence from people, no problem. This is true. What is true? She needs to tell the audience, all the people, right? It's wrong. You're wrongdoing. Don't do that. So she didn't. Right? Very simple.
Thank you.
Materially, as well as politically and socially. So we have to develop our country as well. There is so much that needs to be done. The National League for Democracy has never promised the people what we do not think we will be able to deliver. So when we contested the elections last year, we said we would work towards certain goals. We would do our best.
So she understands, okay? She knows what's right thing, what's wrong thing. But she just conceal her mind, speak out like this message. So she feel herself so pity. Okay?
But we would not give rash promises. We could
tell
not
her
guarantee
mind, tell her lie.
That we would be able to make the country prosperous and peaceful within a short period of time. But that is what we will start out to do as soon as we were able to form an administration. We won the elections last year, but because of the nature of our constitution, we were able to take office only at the end of March, which means that we lost 5 months in the transition. Now we have 5 years in which to do our work, but in effect, we only have about 4.5. And already almost 6 months are past. So we have 4 years left in which to lay the foundation for a truly democratic society. And in doing this, we need the help of all our friends.
Do you know why she's make address in Washington or just New York? Do you know why?
To kind of have ask U.S. military support.
Yeah, she expect American investment to Myanmar. Okay, but actually she cannot get any investment from the rest of the world because she did wrongdoing. She tried to he didn't try to support Rohingya. So she cannot get any investment from the rest of the world. Any government cannot make investment anymore, right? Because put on again just global, they're going to put on new sanctions for her. But at this point, she does not understand. This is a pity. She does not understand. She'll going to lose everything. Okay, she never tells her true mind. She always she telling a lie, right?
Can I make a comment? My impression is that she does not already. She suffered, spent most of her life living by herself, right? And that is not very comfortable. So by standing up to her thoughts, that's what she got. And one part of her wants to fix and make it democratic, but other part of her is probably in her mind, one is saying, I don't want to go back to that situation again.
Going back to the situation. It's not more precisely, she don't want to lose her position.
Well, she doesn't. She does not want to lose her freedom.
What do you mean?
Well,
no, nothing kind of things happen.
What do you mean? She was
military. Okay, they democratized already. The military tried to avoid sanction. That's the reason why they started democracy 2010. Okay, we're going to election. We're going to get new country, not authoritarian. Okay, not junta will govern this country anymore. So they open the country. So every politician is released from prison, from jail. Now is everything open, but she got support from ordinary people from that country instead of junta, military people. And what do you mean? I don't understand. She how come she's going back to the former situation? She never going back to former situation. This is already never going back to the old era because junta has opened the country already. Okay, they don't want any sanction because no economic growth and still keep people in the poverty. So they don't want to do that. So they don't want to get additional sanction anymore. This is the military's opinion. But militaries, they have short narrow mind. They try to, they cannot try to control the country itself. They try to kill Rohingya people. And they do not recognize this will be another additional sanction will come in soon.
Don't see the consequence.
She also does not recognize very well about this issue, right? So she needs to tell the truth. This is she's wrong. She doesn't understand what's going on, right? So this is my observation. But she just telling a lie. At that time already, Rohingya is discriminated already. And at that time, maybe last year's 1 year before, okay, more than 100,000 people escaped to the Bangladesh and discriminated already. And actually, the more than 500,000 people escaped this summer. Okay, at that time already happened, but she does not understand what the situation will supposed to be. This is a problem, right?
And well wishers. The United States has been a good friend to us. When I say to us, I mean to our country, to our people, to the National League for Democracy, to me as an individual. And for that, I'm happy to be able to say thank you to all of you today. We will always remain friends with the United States and with other nations across the world. When we became independent in 1948, that was our foreign policy, to to maintain good relations with all countries all over the world. We were one of the first non-aligned countries. We decided that aligning ourselves with either of the two powers during the Cold War was not to our benefit or to the benefit of the world as a whole. We do not believe in encouraging polarization then, and we do not believe now either in encouraging polarization or division. I don't believe in divide and rule. I think if everybody is friendly each with the other, then we all benefit from it. We all profit from it. So I do not think divide and rule is a short-term measure and can only be successful for a short term. What we want now is of all friends of Burma to join together to see what...
What?
All friends of Burma.
Right? Divide. She said, don't like divide.
They can do to take us forward in our road towards genuine democracy.
So actually she didn't. At this stage, still many people escaped to Bangladesh. She did know that.
Businessmen we invite to come to do business in our country and to teach those of our people who are not yet familiar with business practices, best practices. Those who are interested in humanitarian issues, we invite you to come and help with humanitarian issues in our country. But we would ask you to understand first what our needs are and what the needs of our people are. Humanitarian needs are not just to do with food and shelter and clothes. It's to do with tolerance, it's to do with understanding that rights and responsibilities go together. Everywhere we go, when we were campaigning for during the elections, we made it quite clear that democracy has its responsibilities as well as its rights. Too many people think only of rights. I'm told that entitlement is a big word in the United States today. And I would like service to be as big a word, to serve. We should be proud to be able to serve. To serve is much greater than to be able to demand what you think you're entitled to. I don't think any of us is born with entitlement. We are all human beings with our own human dignity. And I believe that this must be recognized by all. But it's not an entitlement, it's a need. Human rights are human needs. If human rights were entitlements, then we would have to resolve the problem in a way which will create...
So she tells a lie, right? You understand, right? She said human right. And this is entitlement. Also, she was going to say, we need to serve their country people. And finally, she said, in harmony, no divide. Okay? But actually, she divide and discrimination, no human right. Actually, what she did, even if she is a politician, not do that. Right? This is common sense. But this kind of common sense, many people does not understand. I'm speaking out this of my opinion, but many people does not recognize what she's wrongdoing now. Even largest newspaper or Japanese newspaper never tell about that, right? This is important. She's wrong.
Create those who are against human rights and those who are for human rights. Of course, this is the situation still today. There are those who are for human rights and those who are against human rights. But if we could make people understand that human rights are human needs, and each and every one of us has these needs, And if we could recognize other people's needs at the same time as we recognize ours, then we will be promoting human rights. Too many people are interested simply in their own needs and in their own entitlements rather than those of others. So rights and responsibilities must always be addressed as a whole, as two halves of a whole. You have rights, you have responsibilities, and that is what we want our people to be able to do. So we would like to learn from you, you who have been living in a democratic system for for more centuries, because we can say many centuries or a few centuries. Anyway, you have been living in the system, but you know how many problems there are. You can't afford to be complacent, much less we can afford to be complacent. How can we afford to be complacent when you can't? We have not yet even got to the end of the road, whereas you have been there some time ago. But what did you find at the end of the road? More challenges. That is how it's always going to be. That is how this world works. Wherever we get to, there will be challenges. And I've often said that the purpose of education is to equip us to meet the challenges that will come up as we go through life. So that is the last thing that I would ask you to do for us. Help us to meet the challenges that we will have to face. There are many. It's political, social, economic. I will not go into the details of what these are, because I think Kevin has prepared them in his questions, and I will answer them then. So I was just supposed to tell you what we would, as I said, I'm usually told what to say in my speeches. And I was supposed to tell you what we would like the United States to do. The United States, there's the United States government, there's the United States Congress, there are the people of the United States, and there are various organizations like you. So all I can say is that all of you, in your own way, please help us to meet the challenges that we will certainly have to face as we proceed over the next 4 years to lay the foundation for a truly democratic federal union of Burma. Thank you.
Well, State Councillor, I'm now totally intimidated. You've told me that I've told you what to say in your speech. And that
You didn't tell me what to say to somebody else who said.
Give it luck.
That's a trick among politicians. We don't reveal that publicly, you know that. And you said I had a wad of questions for you. I listened very carefully to your comments, and a lot of your remarks were focused on the transition to a full democracy. And you said very eloquently and clearly that there is no room for the military within a civilian democracy.
I didn't say there was no room for them. They've got their own room.
As the State Councillor said before we came on stage, Kevin, you asked the questions. I'll be answering them exactly as I so choose. But taking you up on that question, which is the fact that you have 25% still in the parliamentary institutions, both national level and down. And when I visited you first in Yangon in 2011, it was 80%. Back then, 80%. The positions in the National Assembly were 80% military.
No, 25%.
Back then?
Oh, you mean the elected seats?
Yeah.
Well, they were ex-military.
Ex-military.
The USDP party was the majority party, and of course all the leaders of the USDP were retired generals, or perhaps they were brigadiers, but anyway, retired army officers, and many of the
And
this is 2011. Okay, not now.
He's elected under the badge of the USDP were retired military officers.
And so when I look at your future transition to, let's call it, full democratic institutions without a mandatory occupation of a certain number of seats by the military, how do you see that unfolding over time? There were comments reported recently by the head of the Burmese military saying it may take 5 to 10 years. How do you see this unfolding?
Well, I don't believe in astrology, so I can't predict. I can't say this is going to happen in 5 years or 10 years. But neither can he, I don't think. In the end, it'll be up to the people. And of course, we have to do a lot of the work. We have to convince the people of the need for change. And by the people, I mean members of the military as well, because they are part of our country. They are also our citizens. And we want to make them understand, we want to convince them that this change is necessary for the whole country, including members of the military. A professional army that is loved and respected by the people is worth far, far more than an army that has political powers not in line with the aspirations of the people.
When I last visited you, which was just last year, and before these extraordinary elections, and watching you on the campaign trail was a sight for sore eyes for the international community. But I remember that on that visit talking to various representatives also of your military, and conversations that we had with them in this capacity as president of this Asia Policy Institute, was that if you go back to barracks fully and abandon your formal political role over time, then surely as a professional military, one of the great benefits which will flow will be a full and open professional relationship, say, with United States Armed Forces. And so military men's eyes usually light up at that point because they love exercises, they are proud of their professional achievements in the feat of arms. I notice that the United States has, and the United States Senate has introduced some openings for select military engagement with the Burmese Armed Forces. How do you see that unfolding in terms of providing strong, as it were, professional encouragement for the military to become like any other normal professional military in a democracy?
I think it's a good thing for our military to engage with militaries with other armies from democratic countries, because it makes them understand how things work in a democracy, that the army is not involved in politics, but that does not in any way make them less. In fact, in some countries, such as the United Kingdom, I'm told that the army is the most respected institution in the country, according to the research that they've done, that the people think that the army are even better in some ways than those in the National Health Service. Why? Apparently the answer is because people see them as selfless. People see them as working not for themselves, but for whomsoever they are asked to protect, including non-UK citizens. For example, when they were in Sierra Leone, I believe that was 2 years ago, the people of Britain were really proud of the military. They thought that the soldiers were so good and so selfless and so prepared to protect human life and human well-being. So I want our army, our military, to associate more with military personnel from other countries. So I think we should begin in that way by introducing them to the values of democratic armies.
So
it's strange. She just a little bit talking about military should not be involved in politics, she said, right?
In the beginning, she said.
Beginning, but actually, what she is talking about, not like that. Military involved in like a democratic, society or something like that. So some discrepancies. She is very much fond of military, and also in front of this presentation, her father is the founder of the military. So she is behind the scenes. She is very strong connection. Would like to, or actually connecting the military currently, whatever. So she said, okay, politics, military should not be involved in politics, but she in her mind, she's just doing well with military for everything, govern the country. Right? This is I listen what idea is, what she's thinking.
So she still want military to govern the country?
Yeah,
As
this
use
reason.
of democratic.
To govern the country.
Yeah, she's the last sentence, okay, just introducing them to the value of democracy. Introducing them to the value of democracy.
Yeah, no. I interpret differently.
How do you recognize?
In the past, it was the totalitarian, right?
Yes.
With totalitarian, more power-oriented politics. And I think she just wants, and she was comparing, earlier she was comparing with, the Kud was comparing, the selfless military peoples around the world. And so Aung San Suu Kyi is saying, in our country, we have very selfish military people in our country. I wish they would have more democratic mind. And which basically more highly qualified, not highly qualified, more high quality person, as a person. More mature, more grown up.
You say military?
Well, just more mentally matured.
So
mentally matured as a person.
So
and
what do you want to say?
Just improve the quality of the person. In
military you're talking about?
Well, it not to be, well, yes, she's talking about military group, but she's not talking about military group to govern as the way I understand is they had a very selfish military people. Totalitarian, selfish military people. So she just wants to, she's just hoping that by associating with more mature, less totalitarian soldiers, I hope they will have some impact, positive impact, so that they'll have a higher, more quality military people with democratic mind instead of totalitarian mind.
Military, they does not change their culture. Actually, military mindset is authoritarian. They never change. What she's thinking, okay? She tried to introduce military to the value of democracy. What she said, okay?
Yes.
But military is different. Okay, military never understands what she's talking about. Why just military is open the country because of the try to eliminate sanction. The simple reason. They don't think they need to change culture. They don't think they need to try to change their mindset. No, they don't change. She cannot influence them. But her thinking way is, okay, she's talking about, okay, military, they should not be involved in politics, she thinks. Right. But in her depths of her mind, she can willingly to doing work with military, I thought. Okay, my thought. But she not clearly speaking out that, but she's like this sentence, introducing military to the value of democracy. Oh, how come military is the value of democracy? This military, they're never feeling any kind of democracy. They themselves, okay?
Right. Well,
they never, okay, they don't, okay, don't misunderstand. Members, military, they don't want to change their mind, okay? They don't want to change their policy. But why they opened the country? Why they decided to have an election in that country? Because of how to avoid sanction from the rest of the world. They try to doing business, get more and more, doing investment all over the world. That's the reason why they decided. But true reason is, okay, military understand democracy is the best. No, they never thinking about that, okay? Yes. But she is different mind. She is a kind of the woman of democracy, right? And her mindset, okay, military should not be involved in politics, okay? But she herself, she get doing job with military. She is telling. She will do politics work with military. My feeling, based upon her opinion. She never tells that straight away, but she never tells, she just willing to work military with for politics. But my feeling is like this. She's intention is okay. Allow them for involving for their politics. She said democracy, but actually them to the value of democracy. No, introducing them to involving for the politics. I just listen based upon her opinion. This is my feeling, okay? But she never tells us, but she just, I listen from her. This kind of feeling I get from her.
Armies. So there's a new job for General Petraeus, who you mentioned before. David, we send you as a special envoy of the Asian Society to work there on this new role.
I'll tell him what to say. That's what I mean by civilian authority over the military.
Okay. So she said, I mean by civilian authority over the military, but it means she does not negate military involvement.
No, that's true. Right?
Thank you.
This is Petraeus' answer.
But she can't.
That should.
Huh?
That's she. Maybe in her mind, she want to say that. But if she say that, then
no. She say this word I mean by civilian authority for politics over military. As she said, she does not have opinion. Exclude military.
That's true. Okay.
Over military. Okay, just that's the reason why she admits military's presence. So she cannot against military. This is her pitfall. Okay, her problem.
Thank you. That shows you're a good
Petraeus answered her.
I do like the way in this country, because I'm a foreigner living here in the United States, that our servicemen routinely refer to the Commander-in-Chief, the President, the highest.
I like that very much.
Let's look at the peace process, which you've referred to in your remarks. You haven't been in office long as a government. The process has begun. You've referred to and acknowledged graciously, I think, the work begun under your predecessor, President Thein Sein. 8 signatures, 8 still to come, and 3 at the margins. In terms of any external assistance in this process, as you would judge fit and appropriate, what might that be? Or do you see it as exclusively internal for the peoples of Burma to resolve?
In the end, of course, we've got to sort out our own problems. But I do believe that everybody can help if they have a will to do so. And I think in this day and age, it's no use saying, oh, we have no use for foreigners. Foreigners must not be involved. Because who is a foreigner these days? People are in and out of every country. You talk about globalization when you want something from the international community, and then when you don't want them to point out that perhaps they're not doing things right, then you say, well, don't come and interfere in our domestic problems. I don't think that if we are doing right, we need to fear anybody's scrutiny. And this is what I said this morning at the United Nations. This is with regard to the situation in the Rakhine, in which I think many of you are interested.
Okay, she said, you don't opinion. Rakhine is Rohingya.
Oh, Rakhine is Rohingya.
Rohingya.
Wait, so what did she say?
Okay, just listen. United Nations.
With regard to the situation in the Rakhine, in which I think many of you are interested. And it's a big problem because we want harmony and we want...
Right? Okay, it's time anyway.
Already? Damn.
Yeah, just next week I'm going to continue.
Okay, thank you.
And because I need to ask opinion from Takahashi. Takahashi, you can say something.
Yeah, my question is the what UN who has the commissioner, a high commissioner for refugees, where the Japanese lady used to work as the officer, and is this statement sounds to me in some way she's asking for the help from the outside to solve the problem in Rakhine. But so what's the reaction of this committee who invited Aung San Suu Kyi and UN, any assembly or some offices to engage with the refugees?
Oh, I think the United Nations Commission or Committee, everybody criticized her for the handling the Rakhine people.
Yeah, but that's easy, especially for United UN to accuse her of not doing right for the refugees, but I guess there must be something that they should do. They means the UN or some offices in international organization.
I understand your question is.
Yeah, just criticizing, accusing Miss Suu Kyi, but was the reaction or solution of themselves to putting the situation?
Yeah, of course. They are United Nations commissioners persuade her based upon what she said. Okay, Aung San Suu Kyi, you said you were going to coordinate or in harmony or some dignity and human rights. You said, but how come you just your opinion different or your action is different what you said before? So you need to follow on your mind. And the commission, yes.
I mean, there must be many other ways, but just asking the Suu Kyi to do the right things. But there must be some way, not just talking to Mr. Suu Kyi, but directly putting some the solution, some hands connecting to the situation in place in Myanmar.
You mean the direct involvement?
yeah, so I don't know if I didn't know if the UN, the other international community is so powerless that they cannot be involved directly.
No. This time the Myanmar government never allow them their involvement directly to the Rakhine. Okay, they never accept anybody get involved that kind of area. Okay, kick them out, everybody. So government never allow them involvement, and also they never allow any support, food, everything, bring into that area.
But it's obvious there is crisis. So it's obvious there is crisis in Myanmar, and just being rejected by the government, then there's no way to do that.
Exactly. So just only way, UN, yes.
So what they're doing?
Oh, okay, of course, UN commissioner, if they are some clever person, need to persuade Aung San Suu Kyi, somebody, Aung San Suu Kyi respect person in the UN or some other area, this person need to persuade her. You need to follow your mind, okay? You are doing wrongdoing. Somebody to persuade her to change her mind. The only way, this is not actually UN direct involvement, not kind of deliver food, everything else. No. Somebody persuade her to change her mind. This is a very important issue, but actually, global people, politicians, everybody, commissioner, never do that. They should do it. And Aung San Suu Kyi, she respects some people in the world, right? So those people need to persuade her. You change your mind. This is the only way to solve this issue.
Yeah, if necessary, someone should do something by bypassing Ms. Suu Kyi.
No, not bypassing Suu Kyi. She is actually head of this country. She cannot do that, and nobody cannot persuade military, okay? Military, authoritarian people, they never change their mind. So only she can do it. Oh, she can success or not, it's very skeptical, but only she is the right to change. Only way. I know that. So this is things what somebody, some other person need to persuade her to change her mind. This is the only way they can solve the problem.
Yeah, anyways, how powerless the international community is. Given what we saw in this video, the Suu Kyi have to deal with military, and anyway, she doesn't want to lose the support from the youth in the country. Then another way could be the negotiation with these groups of the Myanmar in the military and the citizens through military. If someone could succeed in persuading them to put their hands down, then Suu Kyi could deal with the military to put some solution on it.
No, to whom are you talking about? To whom negotiate? Military? It's impossible.
Yeah, it should be indirect, but there must be some other way if the Suu Kyi cannot listen or cannot do anything.
Only simple way is somebody persuade her. Any other option? We don't have any other alternative. Only the way to persuade her. So that's this video, okay? And somebody asked her, you should listen to your address. At New York, you did, okay? Just more carefully listen. What you said, human rights, and also you said, some discrimination. What you said, But you watch videos, what you said, you follow on your opinion. It's different, you know. So this is the only way. Okay, anyway, today is we're going to finish.
One last question.
Okay, go ahead.
When she said we, right? When she speaks and says we, that includes.
Oh, we means include
Rohingya, right?
Everybody in that country.
Everybody in that country.
Myanmar people.
Myanmar people, right?
We means Myanmar people.
Including Rohingya.
Of course.
What is that?
Okay, so Takahashi, okay, we're going to finish today.
Okay.
Okay, and next week I'm going to, unfortunately, I'm going to continue another position. But this, Ohashi might not be joined at this front. This I'm going to show the front of this presentation. But this is very good video, and we're going to confirm how she manipulate her mind. Okay, manipulate her mind. I'm going to continue next week. Okay, this is very interesting. But also another couple of video I'm going to need to show you. But Myanmar, I next week I just already submit next week issues is Bhutan. But maybe I just continue one more week. Okay, okay, Takahashi.
Okay, thank you.
Are you going to join this Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Saturday morning is I'm going to. What we going to do Saturday morning? We finish Australia.
Finish Australia?
Yeah, and I think next week Australia some portion is still remaining, and I want to get into Singapore.
Oh, Singapore.
Yeah, and afternoon is another debate with Ed Quitas. Ed Quitas' debate is he's just looking for another issue for how Japanese company failed in the past several decades. Anyway, okay. So today is finished. Okay, I'm going to close down this video.
Thank you.
Okay, just check here to